Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be watching another moon video, and this one is on how the gambling epidemic is destroying society. And I would have to admit, gambling is potentially bad. And the way that makes it potentially bad in this day and age is the way that it's advertised and marketed, especially towards children. I know Twitch for the longest time had a very, very bad gambling situation problem where everything was kind of being marketed towards kids, and now it's like on Kick and Rumble and YouTube. There's all these different gambling advertisements. Stake.com. This is not an advertisement, but like if you go onto like Twitter or whatnot, you have people literally reposting memes and then putting like the stake logo down at the bottom, and it's like a weird form of advertisement. It's so weird, dude. It's super weird. And it's not even just necessarily gambling in like with money as well. It feels like it's infected a lot of different segments of society, specifically like gaming. Like I'm into gaming. Look at me. I'm into gaming, right? Um Gotta love the self-deprecation humor. Deprecation? Defecation? I'm shitting myself. Anyways. Um Gaming has just been turned into a big gambling machine as well, with gotcha games, these scummy mobile games, and it's not even just that. It's also invaded like AAA games. Like if you look at like FIFA, or I don't even think it's called FIFA anymore. But if you look at like the soccer games, sports games, you gamble and you spend money to open up these booster pack card packs of like the players. Gambling on microtransactions. It's just encroaching and enveloping and like targeting the younger generation. So all these kids are going to grow up being surrounded by all this marketing push for gambling. It's real bad. It's real bad. Now, okay, to be fair, I have gambled personally myself before. I've done a little bit of gambling. I've not done anything major, right? Like I don't even think I've lost money overall, to be honest with you, from all of my gambling endeavors. But I have seen some people that have lost thousands and thousands of dollars, and they just keep putting more and more money in. I worked at a gas station where it also had a little gambling center in the back, right? You can come in, and those guys would go and gamble, and every day you'd see the same faces coming in, putting hundreds, putting thousands of dollars into those gambling machines, and most of the days they wouldn't win at all. It was rough. It was real rough. Anyways, enough rambling. Support the channel. The link to this video will be in the description down below. We're gonna watch it. Moon's a great channel. I feel like I've been rambling for like 3 minutes now. Anyways, we're gonna watch the video.
The major news outlets weren't the major news outlets the major news outlets weren't the first to call the election for Donald Trump.
Oh right, I completely forgot about this. Like the gambling has like a gambling site called the election. Like they showed that it was more accurate than like all the polls from all these media outlets that Trump was going to win.
It wasn't even a polling group or a political organization. Instead, it was Polymarket that beat everyone to the punch,
which I believe they're under like
it's not the
federal
only
government
reason
is
they've been in the
investigating them.
In the wake of the election, the FBI raided the home of Polymarket's CEO, Shane Copland, and confiscated his phone, although he wasn't actually arrested. So who got the spooks so spooked? Polymarket is a relatively new company that offers people a different way to gamble. Users can buy shares on the outcomes of real-world events, with the odds depending on what people are willing to pay for either result.
That's kind of wild.
Practice, a completely deregulated system using USDT, and Polymarket's about page is keen to tell you that there is no house and they don't actually take a cut of the wagers or have any stake in the outcome.
How do they
They've
make
also
money?
said that the raid was nothing more than political punishment from the outgoing administration, but the whole site does seem to exist.
That sounds like a conspiracy theory. I mean, it might be true, but like that's very conspiratorial to say, right?
In a legal grey area. Polymarket's detractors have accused it of being just another shady crypto experiment designed to take people's money, while the company itself and their supporters see it as a less exploitative improvement on gambling and the future of an industry that's always going to exist. But before we can ask these questions and dive deeper into Polymarket, we need to take a step back and consider the context of all of this happening in. These days, gambling is everywhere, and it's had a massive effect on culture, most notably in the world of sports. Until recently, though, there were lots of barriers for entry to betting on sports. To do it legally,
there's legal bet sporting
to an actual
sites now.
Store. There are ID checks and other barriers to entry, so compared to today, it did take a lot more time to start wagering. Gambling was present on TV as well, but there were still restrictions that kept gambling participation rates pretty steady over time. But today, it's a completely different story, and now people are gambling on every single thing in society. From which movies hit in the box office, to which presidents come into power, all the way to which wars are won. In 2018, the US Supreme Court reversed a federal ban on sports betting, leaving it up to the states to decide, and most have chosen to legalize it, which also coincided with the rise of mobile gambling apps. And since 2018, there's also been a massive rise in the amount of people with gambling addiction problems.
It's because, like I said, it's because these gambling companies targeted, like specifically went out of their way and targeted children. They targeted young teens and children, and it's still happening.
And charities running gambling addiction hotlines have confirmed it. A research paper by Stephen Shapiro from the University of South Carolina showed that sports and betting have an almost symbiotic relationship. A rise in popularity of one leads to more attention for the other and vice versa. Over time, the two industries have become completely enmeshed. We've seen similar results in the UK, where regulation has been lax for years. Now nearly every football team in the UK has a betting company logo on their jersey. Gambling ads now almost run non-stop during sports programming in the US.
Is that true? That's kind of crazy if that's true. I don't watch advertisements. I don't watch TV. So I don't see advertisements, and like here on YouTube, I have YouTube Premium, so I don't see advertisements. But that's kind of crazy. Like I didn't realize gambling websites were on TV ads.
And its frequent pauses have even let them sneak in between individual plays. And this video isn't to say that gambling as a whole is a terrible thing, but it's the positive association with gambling that could be slightly concerning. And we're not just talking about sports, we're talking about kid gamblers, and the promotion of gambling on anything and everything for teens. In a 2014 report, the UK
it's like in our games now, so it's commonplace.
Gambling among 11 to 17-year-olds. The amount of kids who would qualify as having problems with gambling more than doubled from 0.7% to 1.5%.
Oh, it's way higher than that.
That's only in the space of a single year.
It's 100% way higher than that.
Problems with hard gambling, but a different kind of softer gambling has been promoted to children for years through predatory practices that have become common in video games. As games have evolved, companies realized they could make far more money through a so-called freemium model. The basic gameplay is usually free, without a content, cosmetics, or even in-game advantages costing extra. The real money comes in from game purchases and microtransactions. Over time, they found out that the best way to make the most money with the system was to create an in-game casino system. They started as a way for players with less time on their hands to access items they could otherwise grind for. However, this wasn't enough for some companies, so they turned to the one business proficient at ensuring its customers' return: casinos. And things started to spiral out of control when companies saw how much players spent.
Yeah, there's a huge loot box controversy early on. I know, like, it really went ahead during, like, the Star Wars Battlefield 2 game where everything was in a loot box. But even before that, I feel like Overwatch, the first Overwatch game, sure, it was all cosmetics, but I any loot box in any video game that you can purchase with real money is bad. And it doesn't matter. Cosmetics shouldn't even be. I hate microtransactions. I hate that it's commonplace for games to say, okay, spend money on the cosmetics, because back in the day, you would get those cosmetics by playing the game. I've not spent a single penny on microtransactions or cosmetics. I think it's the most stupid, dumb thing in the whole world. But yeah.
On loot boxes. Games like Call of Duty would start introducing loot boxes to reward players with cosmetic items.
Oh yeah,
nothing that would ever enhance the gameplay.
They had that too. Like God, I remember Call of Duty World War II. You'd have like that hub area, and people would drop loot boxes down to get the 3 different card pools from it. Oh my God, so stupid.
Money back. Players love changing the appearance of their main character to suit themselves better, and add their own identity to the character. Finding new items became a fun little gimmick that came with leveling up. Loot boxes triggered feelings similar to what one might experience while gambling. The anticipation that comes with the mystery of what's in the box. The excitement that followed finding an item that you've been...
This is legit gambling though, isn't it? Was that like a CSGO gambling site, or is this CSGO in itself? CSGO is very big on gambling. Well, I know it was big on gambling for like outside sites, because there'd be people spending hundreds of thousands of dollars XQC here is kind of cringe.
For a while. All the disappointment that settles in when you realize you weren't so lucky this time around. Loot boxes used to be discoverable in-game,
There's that Overwatch
for free upon login. These days, multiple games require spending real money to get them. And we're talking about major gaming companies where you've already paid to access the game itself. And not only does this incentivize especially children to spend ridiculous amounts of money on digital items,
tons of stories of kids stealing their parents' cards
because of the gambling mechanics, all without their parents' knowledge. You see, loot boxes operate on a system of rarity. They're designed to be as similar to slot machines as possible. And while it makes major gaming publishers tons of money, it also prepares them for a lifetime of gambling. And all of this has fueled a new renaissance for gambling, which brings us straight back to Polymarket. If you're still fumbling around with a bulky, outdated wallet, let me introduce you to Exter, the creators of the world's smartest wallets.
We've talked about this before. I like this little pop-up thing, but like no spot for cash. I know cash really isn't a huge thing in many places, but like, come on, I have to. My wallet has to have a spot for cash. Like I can't just leave it hanging like that. It looks bad. And it looks like it could be easily stolen. I'm just saying. Like, I don't want my cash just hanging out, on the side.
Sleek and packed with features that'll make your life so much easier. You see, Exter wallets are super slim, holding over 12 cards in cash while staying half the size of traditional wallets. Their signature trigger mechanism lets you access your cards with just the push of a button. It's simple, fast, and so satisfying. And if you're worried about security, Exter has you covered with the RFID blocking, so that your data stays safe from wireless skimming and theft. Plus, they're also made with sustainable materials like vegan Italian leather and space-grade aluminum. And one of their game changers is
how do you even have? I said this before last time. How do you even have vegan leather? The only thing I can assume from vegan leather means that they've repurposed already made leather items, because at that point that would be constituted as vegan, correct? I don't know.
A power tracker ensures you never lose your wallet again. 2 hours of sunlight gives you 3 months of charge. And with the two-way ringing feature, you can find your wallet or even your phone in seconds. Plus, you'll get separation alerts and access to a worldwide lost and found network, so that you're always connected to your essentials. Right now, Exter is running the biggest sale of the year, up to 55% off with the code MOON from December 9th to December 25th. So if you're looking for a perfect gift or an upgrade for yourself, this is your chance. Just use the link in the description below, partner.exter/moon, and use the code MOON to take advantage of this amazing deal. Trust me, once you try Exter, you'll never want to go back to your old wallets. They've been one of the leading horses in a race to monetize a new way of gambling, a peer-to-peer marketplace for betting on the outcomes of real-world events. The site mixes crypto, gambling, and the stock market all into one. In normal gambling, people place wagers on an outcome. In roulette, for example, if you place a bet on black and the ball lands on one of the black numbers, then you win. Polymarket and other sites like it are a little different. Instead, it's like you can buy shares for each outcome. So you could either buy shares that the ball will land on black or that it won't land on black. The amount you can win is decided by what other people are willing to pay. If most users think there's a 55% chance it will land on black, then the share will cost 55 cents and pay out $1 if you're right. This system means that you can either just bet on the outcome or wait for the result by buying shares of one of the outcomes. Or you can buy and sell shares before the outcome even happens, either making a profit or a loss based on how the consensus has changed. It all means
so that even further incentivizes you to like get into the trades early and just you don't even necessarily have to think that what you're putting in is right. You can just like, okay, put the money in there. Oh, it's going up. Bam, I can pull it out and get my money back. That's weird.
Third parties taking a cut.
But that's also gambling of itself,
instead,
right?
As we'll find out. If you're going to believe the founder Shane Copland's social media posts, Polymarket began in a bathroom on a laptop sitting on top of a laundry basket.
I doubt
that. But it wouldn't stay that way for long. Launched in 2020, the site was functional months before the election in November. By offering a way to bet on the outcome, it picked up steam, and by around October, Polymarket had already attracted $4 million from crypto and venture capitalist investors. After the election died down though, the site fell into stagnation for years. Then in 2022, the CFTC banned them from letting American citizens use the platform and fined the site $1.4 million. But strangely, this didn't seem to make much of a difference at all. Whether the ban actually worked is up in the air, and it's hard to tell whether Polymarket's compliance extended beyond lip service. But it wasn't until the 2024 election cycle that Polymarket's growth picked up again. This time though, it was going to get a whole lot more popular than anyone expected. As reported by Fortune, the trading volume on Polymarket stayed at around $40 to $60 million for the first 5 months of 2024. Then in June, it almost doubled to 110 million. The site was picking up speed, and a month later, this tripled again, climbing past 500 million by September, Finally, with the election around the corner, it rose by another 500% to $2.5 billion. Since then, trading volumes have dropped, but not nearly to the levels they were at before the election.
Wow.
The business model and the site itself
billion.
seem to at least have some staying power, and recent news might be an indication that some people are very worried about its growth. While the media and opinion polls had Trump and Kamala in a dead heat, the consensus on Polymarket was much more in Trump's favor. In the market for who would win on the 1st of November, a few days before the election, Trump was sitting at nearly 63% with Harris on just under 37%. When Trump won, Polymarket also declared victory.
I know you guys got a lot of flack for that, and I just appreciate you guys standing up for it. And hopefully you guys feel the same sense of victory that we do.
Now, you could give a lot of reasons as to why. A Trump administration could be more likely to let them operate without much regulation, and it might let them have US-based users again. And during the election, people were slandering Polymarket as being outrageously right-wing, all due to their predictions that Trump would actually win the
I hate this. These people, these news outlets always call anything that they hate right wing or conspiracy or Nazi. It's okay. Anyways.
Election. Unlike mainstream polling that suggested the race was close, their user base's bias to being pro-Trump was also proven correct as well, adding weight to their claims of representing the true voice of the people. But just a few days later though, the FBI suddenly raided Polymarket's offices in New York, confiscating Copland's phone and laptop. While other similar exchanges have been allowed to operate and let users place bets on US politics, Polymarket had not gotten the go-ahead. Meanwhile, it's almost certain that lots of US citizens have been using the platform, bypassing the region lock with VPN. Whether it's Polymarket's
get your VPN. I think you should have. It should have been a VPN ad right there, Moon. What are you doing? You could have done like Shark VPN or Proton VPN. I don't know what the other VPNs are.
Ability to investigate and stop this though is a legal question. So while they were obviously breaking their deal, they also have tons of plausible deniability that could possibly see them through a lawsuit if nothing else comes up. But of course, Polymarket were quick to claim that it was all a case of political punishment by the outgoing Democrats. The main objection that Polymarket's detractors have raised is based on the fact that it's unregulated. They say it opens the doors to insider trading, market manipulation, and other predatory practices.
I can definitely see this being like a big rug pull, right? You get a bunch of people going in and betting towards this particular outcome, and then once that gets high enough, you sell off those bets and then decrease the value of it. I mean, that's what they do with like meme coins and crypto rug pulls currently, right? Like the biggest, newest one that everyone talked about recently is the Hawk Tua girl doing the Hawk meme coin, right? Where like 97% of the meme tokens were already in wallets prior to the launch of the actual token. So when the token sale went live, all of her fans went in and bought the token and increased the value of the price. And then 10 accounts simply just went through and sold everything that they had, which completely plummeted the amount of the token's value. So all the 3% that wasn't sold prior, right, that value went down. So all of her fans, it's a rug pull. All of her fans were holding the bag, while the people that owned the tokens prior, they made out like a bandit.
A few days before the election, Fortune.com published a piece accusing Polymarket of being a full of wash trading, a scam where users buy and sell lots of the same shares over and over again to make it look like a hot commodity. The crypto firms that came up with this analysis state up to a third of the activity surrounding the presidential market, the largest on the site, was wash trading. Other smaller markets on the site are even more vulnerable to manipulation. Their low trading volumes make it far easier for people to artificially move the markets with relatively small amounts of money. It seems like these kinds of things are almost expected in unregulated online financial markets. But perhaps the biggest reason behind the US's new crackdown on Polymarket could be that it's something they don't control or make a profit from. With no third party taking a cut or managing the odds, Polymarket gives people a crystal clear view of what the consensus is on certain events. It offers a perspective of the world that they can't control and is therefore dangerous. Governments also rarely have a problem with gambling if they're the ones profiting from it. The lottery, which is often a massive slice of a country's entire gambling industry, is insanely profitable for them.
Yeah, the here in the U.S. the lottery, like the lottery Powerball or whatever, not scratch tickets, lottery Powerball, a lot of that money goes to the government, and then that money goes towards whatever the government spends. They say, oh, we will repair roads and stuff, but you know, it goes to like Ukraine or Africa or something, right? Um, but yeah, that like the lottery, scratch tickets, that's all poor tax because you really like the rich people aren't playing the lottery. Rich people aren't buying scratch tickets. Rich people aren't gambling like that. It's the poor people that are hoping and you know, are desperate and clinging to the slim chance of, you know, oh, if I win the lottery, I'm gonna, you know, buy a house and pay off all my debt and, you know, buy a house for my mom, and uh,
it's
sad.
like printing money, but without the inflation because they're taking it out of people's pockets. If Polymarket's model of peer-to-peer gambling takes off for other things, it could severely dent both of these profits and the ones they tax from regular casinos and bookmakers. It's not something they want to happen. While it might be unlikely, with so much money on the line, why would they risk anything? At the end of the day, Polymarket isn't the problem, and gambling itself in moderation isn't a terrible thing. The issue is that Polymarket is just a symptom of a culture that's let gambling go way too far, and the media's only concerned because it's a tiny part of the industry that the establishment isn't taking a cut from. All the other rigged forms of gambling where you're pretty much guaranteed to lose money are absolutely fine in their eyes, and regulation has been almost willingly useless. In 2021, the UK government took measures like adding a minimum time between spins of 2.5 seconds. It's a hard rule that's definitely going to slow down the problem and prevent even more people from falling into addiction. That is, unless people figure out that they can just open up 2 separate websites. Plus, it really doesn't take that much time.
Don't give them the idea.
Into online slots, even with those minor restrictions. Meanwhile, you've got streamers on Kick streaming slots to tens of thousands of people, and you can pretty safely assume that a large part of the audience are children.
Oh, this guy, I forget who this guy's name is, but he's constantly spending and losing all of his money.
The big streamers often aren't
Bossman Jack. Said down here at the bottom.
You can pretty safely assume that a large part of the audience are children. The big streamers often aren't using their own money. Gambling sites give them massive wallets to burn live on stream, just to draw in potential users. They have big floats, and most of the slot games work by buying a certain amount of spins and then winning money back. So each time these guys play, there's all these flashy graphics of massive wins showing up on screen.
Gotta get that dopamine hit.
Lying, it's definitely meant to be as misleading as possible, as it creates the connection between win massive amounts of money.
Is this Drake? Lame. Rap music is weird now? Question mark. Pookie.
And the slot website they're using. Even as you see the laws of probability work themselves out and the balances slowly go down, it doesn't matter. You can tell how integral these social media sites are for gambling companies' marketing plan. Otherwise, they wouldn't be funding an entire streaming platform just for this. But one of the worst things about all of this is that addicts can never really escape an easy way to indulge their addiction. Unless you entirely stop using a smartphone, it's always going to be there right in your pocket, or even on Times Square. It's like a smoker trying to quit smoking while keeping a pack of cigarettes in their pocket. And that's not to say there shouldn't ever be gambling adverts, not at all. But it's the way it's been adopted by everyone, by everything.
It's
where
everywhere.
Every single event in society is made to just be another part of gambling, which could be especially dangerous for those constantly losing when their entire addiction is centered around the dopamine rush that comes with a winning bet. And when you run out of money to keep it going, it's like being dropped in the icy water of reality. It all comes rushing on and you realize just how much money you lost and what the real life consequences are going to be. Which is one of the things that makes the mainstream promotion of this so uniquely gripping, is that everybody's trying to avoid this feeling, especially in a society where people are becoming poorer and poorer, uneven to even safely survive, constantly being shown this option of winning, where you can gamble on everything, which movies hit in the box office, which president gets elected, hoodwinking millions and millions of people trying to avoid the reality of losing, trying to avoid the reality of their own situation in life. And while in moderation can be fun and fine, trying to avoid the...
This is AI, right? This looks like AI.
The reality of their own situation in life. And while in moderation it can be fun and fine, the problem comes when every single thing is monetized in this way. When you're a kid, it's loot boxes. And as you grow up, this sort of thing just becomes normal.
Loot boxes, card packs.
There is always still hope for recovery. We're built
go
to deal with
straight to online gambling,
tough conditions, and not resist temptation. But with how much this stuff is pushed into people's faces, it's almost a sign of a society that's completely financially unstable. where materialism and money is promoted against everything else. Lots of addicts look back on their first bet and know that if they had lost instead of won, that whole habit would have never been formed and they would have escaped. Ironically, the dangers of gambling are always created by being lucky in the beginning. People who've revealed it to their families and their friends are often surprised at how willing they are to help, but the absolute worst move is to keep it to yourself and bear the burden of being alone. It isn't a problem that people should be ashamed about, especially when it's promoted in almost everything, even just subtly without you ever realizing. But
I don't see advertisements. I go out of my way to not see advertisements. Like, I have YouTube Premium, I have ad block. I guess it's kind of harder to not see when I'm out and about, but I don't know. I take extreme measures not to see advertisements.
Today, that children are already getting addicted before they have a bank account, and Polymarket and its competitors are therefore just the tip of a giant iceberg in a culture addicted to gambling. Regulating it is probably a good idea, but it's a comparatively tiny problem compared to the awful state of modern gambling itself, and the root cause of why people are turning to this so much more than they have in the past. When money, materialism, and economic insecurity is a mounting problem in society, then it's no surprise that this stuff is so legitimized in almost every facet of society. But tackling that problem rocks the boat for everyone. It would dent the tax revenue and the lobbyist money that comes streaming out of the gambling industry.
Oh, well, that's the end of the video. Okay. No outro, that's fine. Yeah, I agree. Basically everything that he said, I 100% agree with. The mysterious New Jersey drones. I want to watch that. The drones are an interesting little phenomenon happening right now in the U.S. God, man, like I've said it many times. I hate gambling, and I think that people are way too lax in allowing it to be advertised towards children, and then those children are getting hooked and addicted to gambling, and then they're gambling with real money later on, and it's just bad. It's really, really bad. We're gonna read some comments, see what some of the people have to say. Self-control is the holy grail in life. I'm 36, but I had a real old school civics teacher in high school. He explained to us how the state lottery works and what its purpose is. He also spent an entire day explaining how gambling is a statistical suicide mission and that the least educated and poorest part of society has the biggest involvement in gambling. Avoid it like the plague, all because of one good teacher. Nice. It's almost like these old timers knew about gambling, drugs, unwitting children, and general lack of morals would destroy society. Imagine that. My advert for this video was a casino advertisement. Oh, cringe. It's not gambling that's destroying it. It's demoralization and greed. Psychopathic traits are revered, psychopaths idolized. Empathy is thought to be a weakness, and compassion considered stupid. Nice guys finish last. Narcissists rise to the top. There's no reason for current inflation, none other than greed. When Americans cannot afford homes or rent and no one does anything about it, crime will rise, gambling will rise, scams will explode, all while the rich get richer and everyone else expense. Greed and lust is a big issue in today's society. We're doomed as a society when children as young as 11 years old are addicted to gambling. What the hell is wrong? What the hell has this world come to? 1305, as a smoker, I can tell you that it's easier to cut back or even quit when you have a few cigarettes left over. The anxiety aspect of smoking is worse when you have none. I don't know. I've never smoked, so... Gambling destroyed my family many years ago. When I was a child, my father brought me to an OTB. I don't know what OTB is, and I had no idea what it was. I thought it was a weird smelling bank with TVs and horses. OTB. It must be like some sort of casino or something. Or horses, so I guess horse trading bet. It looked like my father was talking. It looked like my father was talking to a teller, and there were plenty of pins attached to the desk. When my mom found out how often he was bringing me there, she was beyond furious since he promised he would never do that. Our parents divorced partly due to my father's various gambling issues. My brother and I more or less made a self-made promise never to turn out like my father did. 99% of gamblers quit right before they win big. I'll tell you what else is killing our society. Monetized AI-generated videos on YouTube with 57 ads in a 10-minute video. Is he insinuating this is an AI-generated video? I mean, I think the points... I mean, the script may be AI-generated, but I think the point's still valid, right? I don't know, with 57 ads in a video... YouTube Premium, I guess. Cell phones themselves are a slot machine. How dare you correctly predict the election and not lie to the population? Female body investigate? Oh, FBI. It's because poor schooling and single parent homes. People today are much less intelligent than just 30 years ago. We have become an idiocracy. I was looking at the fact today 42% of marriages in the US end in divorce, by the way. I've worked in the iGaming, online gaming industry here in Malta. Calling it disgusting is an understatement. They have slots in grocery stores here. Ridiculous. Yeah, a lot of states have if they allow gambling, like the slot machines can be anywhere. Like when I was the manager for the gas station I worked at, there were slots in the back, and then down the road at the grocery store there were slots in the back. Um, At the liquor store, there were slots in the back. At the bowling alley, there were slots in the front. Um, I hadn't seen my cousin in about 5 years, and when I did, I asked him what he was up to. He said that he was a gambling addict now. Literally, the first thing he said to me, he's 23. Wow. As a gambling addict myself, yeah, I can assure you it's really bad for your health. What's in the box? What's in the box? Open the box. Gambling is simply wealth redistribution. You take it from the poor and give it to the rich. True. Getting an ad 2 minutes in on an online casino is just perfect. I work in a betting shop in the UK. I'm constantly surprised by the superstition and ignorance shown by the customers that play our FOPTs, fixed odd betting terminals, or for the layman, slot machine. All right. Actually, it's an FOBT. I learned from Reddit. Sorry. Sorry, Alice Storm 8. I apologize for that. From what I see, there's a certain element of recreation to be had in horses, dogs, and sports betting, where studying is an equalizer. Most over-the-counter bettors are quite responsible, but the terminals are just pure cancer. Majority of players are pensioners and the jobless. I would hate to see the result of a study on the percentage of how much of welfare is spent on gambling. Probably a lot. Just another of many ways the poor get poor and the rich become richer. The hardest is when there's a lotto pool at work. Not buying it means the thought of everyone else getting to retire the next day while you have to keep coming in for another 30 years. Vegan Italian leather, fancy way to say bullshit. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. Vegan Italian leather. The world is sick in every sense. Yeah. I kind of trust wallets where the cash is actually inside a pocket. I wonder if this would be okay. Social manipulation, gamification of society. Stock market is currently like a casino. Very true. Australia is just nuts with sports betting and ads. It's pretty insane here. Gambling ad as soon as I click the video. That's funny. Black Mirror World Inbound. I normally ignore your unnecessarily sad videos, but I agree with this one. Life is a crapshoot. Let's go back to where it all started. Pet Simulator on Roblox. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. The amount of gambling that's in Roblox. Oh, my God. I completely forgot about that because I hate Roblox. But it is insane, dude, the amount of gambling that's in Roblox. It's disgusting. All right, we're done with the video. We're done with the video, guys. Thank you for watching. The link to this video will be in the description down below if you want to watch it without my commentary. But I guess we're here at the end of it, of 30 minutes of recording, so it's kind of late for that. Kind of late for that. I'm just going to go. Take care. Goodbye.